But the whole point of this show is to put up horses just for the sake of putting them up. I mean,
Jack
Ryan just put up Il Ridoto. If
Yeah,
that's not a
true.
selection just to put up a selection, I don't know what it is. Hello and welcome to the Staying On Racing channel. This is our Cheltenham Festival 2026, the handicaps, where we go over the handicaps of the Cheltenham Festival, some of the trends and the historical evidence for previous winners of the races, alongside some of our selections. Gareth, welcome. Ryan, welcome. How are you, boys?
Thank you.
Yeah, good, Jack. Getting close to the festival now.
Yes, it is. 13, 12 days?
12 days, yeah.
Right around the corner. So I've used my IT skills to Google search Cheltenham trends and pick out about 4 or 5 different websites. So absolutely copying everyone else's work here. But we'll just go through an order of the days of when the handicaps appear. We have left out a couple of the newer ones, Jack Richards, and then the likes of the cross country and the National Hunt Chase, which have had changes in recent years. So there's not so much trends to go off. So we'll start with the Boodles. The trends I have for these, which are a couple of them are quite relevant to some of the market figures. In Manlaga doesn't fit these trends. 16 of the last 21 were rated 124 to 134. It's not a great trend because that probably applies to most of the field. It's like a 10 or 12 pound window there. 10 of the last 12 carried at least 11 stone, which also is kind of similar to the first trend. But 0 of the last 10 were mares, and the Irish have won 8 in a row. So it's one thing the Irish are good at in horse racing, it's blatant cheating with juveniles. So I think on that evidence, go for an Irish trained gelding.
Yeah, well, on that evidence, as you know, the one I really fancy is Manlaga, the English mare, which goes against everything. But yeah, I think I'd mentioned her in a previous video. She was the one that I did like. Looked like there's a little bit of untapped potential there. Last day out, I thought she won pretty snug at Haydock. So yeah, and then I tend to try and figure out which one of Joseph's entries that they actually think has the best chance. And I watched the ATR preview the other night, and I think Joseph has 3 entries in it. And I think the one that Kevin Blake sounded most keen on was one called Glen to Glen, which won last time out. He said that it's improved and he's really starting to show he's a good horse, and he's been kept fresh for this. He's been put away since, I think he ran twice quite quickly before Christmas. I don't think he's ran since the start of December. So yeah, he had been another one. I think he fits the majority of the trends on the weights and being Irish and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it'd probably be my Irish selection in the Boodles.
Yeah, I do find it's good to have trends. Obviously aren't the be all and end all of handicaps at Cheltenham, because trends are there to be broken, but also at the same time they are trends for a reason. So there tends to be a typical profile for a horse that wins certain types of races. There is one trend that slightly goes against the horse that I like, Saratoga. It's that 3 of the last 21 favourites have won, so it's not really one for the top of the market. That being said, like, he could be anti-post favourite and then drift on the day, and then that doesn't feed into the trend then at the same time, so I wouldn't pay too much attention to it. He's rated right bang in the middle of the rating scale. He's 130. He got £5. Every horse that came out of that Nace race just got slapped with £5. Highland Crystal. Munsif is another one for Charles Burns that fits the trends. He'll be a slightly bigger price, so maybe he fits more of the trends, but he'll be in the same weight range. But I'll nail my colours to the mast on Saratoga. I am allowed to say that I got 14 to 1, so it's not technically a favour for me, so therefore I can discount the trend perhaps. Ryan, have you got a horse you fancy in the Boodles?
I wouldn't have a strong opinion on the race. I'm on Saratoga mainly just because you made a good case for it. Came out that race at was it a Nace, which seems to be a good pointer every year, doesn't it? The winner tends to come out of that race more often than not. I thought Manlaga did very well to win the other day. I think just the fact that they're both JP horses, they've been well found in the market, and I wouldn't be in a rush to back either of them right now.
Is there a chance Malaga switches to the Triumph now that Narciso Haas has run, or do you think they'll just roll the dice with Proactive?
I think Nikki said in an interview just yesterday, it might have been, that he was pretty confident she had a very good chance in the race. So I think she definitely goes there.
Nicky Henderson obviously doesn't read the trends. The Ultima is the next race on the card. It's directly after, well, it's not directly after the Boodles, it's the next handicap on day one. 15 of the past 18 winners of the Ultima had previously won over 3 miles. There's only 6 10-year-olds who've ever won. That's probably a trend that applies to a lot of races at Cheltenham, to be fair. 10 of the last 16 had run at Cheltenham that season, which is a very interesting stat, to be fair. I wouldn't have thought that. Obviously, course form is imperative for a lot of Cheltenham handicaps, but 10 of the last 16 had run that season at Cheltenham is quite interesting. And the big one, 11 of the last 12 winners of this race were 11 to 1 or shorter. So definitely look out for a horse at the top of the market, but only one of the last 26 winners was the SP favourite. So look at the top of the market, but not too close to the top of the market. A little bit of a shake-up in the Ultima. Oroko was not declared to run on Saturday, so there is rumbles that he might show up here in the Ultima off top weight. Ryan, I know you were pretty heavy on Jaguar. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean, from what I've read earlier, that Oroko is going to go for the Ultima. That's definitely the plan now. So it's more likely than not that Jaguar will also go for the Ultima. Sounds like they're both going to go. It sounds like JP's just telling them what to do, and if he thinks they're both right for that race, then they're both right for that race. I think in terms of Jaguar, it does lower his weight a little bit, but it is his first effort of 3 miles, which on the trends wouldn't be ideal. I did fancy Jaguar before this news, and now I've completely swapped and think Oroko is an absolute certainty. I don't see why. I don't think he'd be running if they didn't think he's got a brilliant chance. I think it was a clear campaign all season just to follow what they did last year, go to the National off the same preparation. The fact that they're coming here suggests to me that he's working very well. He got so close to, well, not so close, but he got close enough to the jukebox man, which in the context of this race would be very, very good form. And I think he's got a brilliant chance at around 8 to 1.
There was a horse mentioned by you, G-Mat, a while ago. Quebecois. Are you still retaining the faith in him?
Yeah, yeah, I think I came on the other day and said I didn't realise he'd had another run. Upon further investigation, it appears that was just to qualify him, just to get his fourth run. That was over 2 miles, so a mile short of what he really wants. The one thing, just based on your trends, the 2 horses I fancy are around the same price at just over 11 to 1. They're both sitting around 12 to 1 at the minute, and neither of them have won over 3 miles. So one's won over 2 miles, 7.5. One hasn't at all. So the 2 I sort of like around the same price are Quebecois, and also I was quite interested just with the connections and what they did with Cork Rambler previously, King of Answers for Lucinda Russell and Scudamore. I think there's been a little bit of money has came for it. The prices in this race seem to vary massively between bookie. I saw them as short as 7 to 1 with some bookmakers, but I think you can still get 12s on them. So they were the 2 I sort of liked, and they sort of fit some of the trends, but not all of them. But they're sort of in that nice price point, just around somewhere between sort of, I think, 10 and 12 to 1. So yeah, that'd be my 2, and I think it looks like from their runs they've both been laid out just to qualify for this, and yeah, that'd be where my money lies at the moment.
Yeah, Quebecois seems to slot in lovely, really, because he had to run at Cheltenham earlier in the season. He won over 3 miles over hurdles.
Yeah.
So he does kind of if he gets a little bit, I know what I'm saying, if he gets backed in 1 extra point, he fits the trends. Doesn't really, you can't hold your hat on that, but he does seem to fit a lot of the trends. Horse I wouldn't necessarily say I thought too much about until Ben Pauling. I listened to Ben Pauling talk, and the one thing you can't do around Cheltenham time is listen to trainers talking about their horses, but he gave a really, really strong case for handstands, saying he thought he might have been his Gold Cup horse at the start of the season, and puts him on the same level as the Jukebox Man, which if he is on the same level as the Jukebox Man, he's got absolutely no chance of winning an Ultima because he is useless. but he's won. He fits the trends. He is quite highly weighted. Iroko coming in would take a little bit of the pressure off him, not having to run off top weight. He hasn't run at Cheltenham. He hasn't won over 3 miles, so he doesn't fit many of the trends. So this is purely just listening to trainer hype. The only trend he does fit is he's not 10 years old or more, and he's going to be around that 10 to 1 price. He's one I just have at the moment. Again, a lot of these you can wait till the day and see what sort of horse fits the trends then with the relation to their prices. But we'll move on to the Plate, which is where Jaguar might be going now, or he might go to the Ultima. 12 of the last 13 winners were rated 140 plus, so it's not a race that's won by horses lower in the handicaps. 5 of the last 9 winners were novices, so it suits an unexposed type of horse. Only 6 of the last 25 have carried 11 stone or more. So there must be a Goldilocks zone there. When the full decks are out, you'll be able to figure out which horse is rated 140 plus and not quite carrying the 11 stone, which would probably be the Goldilocks zone you're looking for in that race. And then 7 of the last 7 winners had won at Cheltenham that season, which is also a very interesting stat. I actually didn't believe this when I read it. I went and looked up all the horses at the Racing Post afterwards, but they had actually won. The last 7 winners of this race had previously won at Cheltenham that season, which is a bit of a mad stat, and that should help you narrow down the race. Ryan, have you managed to pick out the winner for us?
No, my only real opinion on this race is that Madara is he's a very short price favourite, but he's the right favourite, definitely. He's clearly been laid out for this race. He's off a mark of 140. He's won previously at the course. They've obviously just been building up to this race. It was a very eye-catching run the last day. And yeah, I just think you get bigger than 5 to 1 on the day. I definitely wouldn't be back in that price now. I think you'll probably get slightly bigger on the day at least. Although it is a Cheltenham handicapper, so you never know.
Yeah, you can go off 2 to 1.
Yeah, but I think generally a couple of novices will come into this race rather than go for the Jack Richards. So you'll probably get him at a bit of a bigger price, and I'll be waiting to the day for him.
Yeah, Gareth, have you managed to narrow it down to the winner?
Yeah, I'd echo a lot with what Ryan's saying there. Madara is the one that I liked. Just looking through his trains, although he hasn't won at Cheltenham this year, he's ran twice at the course, and he came 2nd and 4th. I'm just double checking. Yeah, 2nd and 4th this year. So he's had 2 runs at the course, and Ryan said he's won previously, so should have no issues with the track. Eye-catching run last time. It's the Skeletons in the Cheltenham handicap, so you have to sit up and take notice. Historically, it would be a handicap. I have a horrendous record at picking the winner, so I might just row in with Madara and see how we get on. Yeah,
I think the picture will be a lot clearer when we see the full declarations and the full scale of the actual weights in relation to the marks. You can narrow it down then. Vincenzo is one that's a little bit interesting. He's 4 from 7 over fences. He's trained by Sam Thomas, not the most prolific trainer for a Cheltenham handicap winner, but he fits a lot of the trends. He's rated 143. He's not won at Cheltenham this season, but he was second. He was second twice. So you can see where he kind of slots in close to it, but I don't really have a strong fancy in the Plate, to be completely honest. The next race then, the first handicap on the Wednesday, is the Coral Cup. 6 of the last 9 winners have been 7 years old, and there's only been 2 8-year-olds or older that have won it since 1997. So you're looking for a younger horse. 18 of the last 19 had not run within 32 days at the festival. It's not exactly a big surprise, but you're looking for a fresh-ish horse, a horse that has been aimed at it. 10 of the last 12 have been rated 140, and 14 of the last 16 had previously run at Cheltenham. So vague-ish stats, but just look for a not old horse that's running fresh, rated 140 plus, and you might be okay with a chance of being competitive in this race. Ryan, have you picked out the winner?
Yeah, I was looking through this earlier. Actually, I think Jinko Blue has got a very good chance in this race. He's around the 20th mark. I think he unseated on his last start over fences at Ascot last season behind the changing man when he went off favourite, and I think he had a little problem after that. They've obviously thought, well, we'll come back to hurdles, give him a go back over back over hurdles. He ran a decent enough race at Haydock earlier in the season behind Electric Mason, who has form with the horse. The name escapes me in the Stayers hurdle. But not a bad little comeback run. I don't think he fully really stays 3 miles. I think he definitely prefers an intermediate trip. He then stepped back in trip on New Year's Day for the Real Cool hurdle, finished second behind Cabra de Matan, which I think was a decent run. I think they've probably just been sort of working back from this race all season. I think Nicky has a very good record in the Coral Cup. Tends to always have a horse in the race. Won it a few years ago, definitely with Damned Accompanied, didn't he? And I think this is the target. And I think at 20-1 he'll have a good chance.
Gareth, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you're of a similar vein. You like Jinko Blue as well?
Yeah, I do. Good run last time. Obviously, a bit of Cheltenham form this year. Was around the second. I think it was on New Year's Day. So yeah, definitely be one near the top of my list. I don't know if the plan is to go here or not, but one I saw in the betting, which just appears to be an improving mare, but I imagine she's probably going to go for one of the mare's races, is Cousin Kate. I don't know what the plans are with that horse, but if she turned up here, I can see she's 25-1. Surely she'll knock off that price. So it might be one I'll be keeping an eye on hers to see where she's going. But yeah, I'd echo a lot of what Ryan said there. Good horse with a good run last time at the track. I think he looks quite big. I'm actually seeing he might be 33s in a place at the moment, which is even more surprising. I couldn't figure out why I couldn't find him in the betting here, because I think I unfortunately backed him at 16s. So 33s is a bit of a kick in the stones. But yeah, I think he's got every chance, and yeah, ran well last time. The only slight concern would be, I think the only other time he did run was in the Turners. I think he ran Ballyburn's Turners when he was pulled up. Now maybe he was just out of his depth then. But yeah, hopefully that was just that he was running at too high a level, and maybe this will be good for him. But his better run at Cheltenham this year would definitely give you a little bit more confidence.
Yeah, that's a good case made for a loser by both of you there. I'm going to put up the winner now. A horse who does fit the trends. He comes here fresh, a bit like Jimmy the Soy last year, similar enough profile. He had a run at Cheltenham in which he was absolutely tailed off last year off a 300-day break, but he's rated in that 140 plus. He's 145. He's a 6-year-old, nice and young. He's not run within the last 32 days. He's coming here fresh. Copec de Me is one I'm going to put up here for Willie Mullins. I touched on it in our preview of day 2. He just got a shocker at Aintree. You can forgive his Cheltenham run because he was coming there at 330 days or whatever it was. It's his first run at Cheltenham. Hard for any horse to go and do, but he was absolutely smashed in. He was all the rage. Didn't deliver. Went to Aintree. Should have won. Didn't. Ran this season in a chase where he was tailed off before falling at the last, then obviously freshened up. This has probably been the aim. He hasn't been left in any other handicap, so yeah, I'm willing to take a chance on him. He's 18-1 now, best priced. I think if he's declared, perhaps Mark Walsh on him, you could be looking at easy middle single figures on him, so he could be a value play. I did like Indivar Blue, but he doesn't fit any of the trends really. He's not rated 140. He hasn't run at Cheltenham. Yeah, he could be one that pops up that doesn't fit the trends. Obviously got a nice word from the trainer, but I'll stick my money down on Copec de Me as my number 1 for this race. Grand Annual is a very interesting race. It doesn't throw up repeat winners, but I think horses that run and it can run well again, which is certainly the hope for Jazzy Matty anyway. He was a horse who booked the trends last year, didn't fit any of them, so there you go, it can happen. 2 of the last 18 winners of the Grand Annual had won their previous start, so you're obviously looking for a handy non-trier who didn't want to get any way involved in the finish last time. 12 of the last 15 were rated between 138 and 150. 11 of the last 12 had at least 5 chase starts, so you're looking for an experienced yet kind of unexposed horse, and 12 of the last 12 had won a chase. So it's a mix of unexposed and battle hardened for this type of race. A fastly run 2 mile Cheltenham chase. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm sticking with Jazzy Matty. I think he did it pretty easily last year. He's off £7 higher, and it looks to me like they've mostly campaigned him over hurdles since then. He did have one run in the Galway Plate where I doubt he just didn't stay. Wasn't too far behind them coming to the last, and then was beaten a fair distance. I think that he's gone up £7 for last year. There was a period where a lot of horses would not win this on their first attempt, but come back and win it on their second or third attempts. I think the fact that he's already won it on his first attempt, I think that he's a young horse. He's still only 7 years old. I think he's probably still got a bit of improvement in the spirit, and I think he's been running well over hurdles, including at Cheltenham. And I think he'll go very close again. And he's 14-1, so no complaints with that.
Matt, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, my opinion hasn't changed too much from the last time we discussed this. Jazzy Matty would definitely be up there for me. The one I like just a little bit more, and I see since I mentioned him, all our thousands of viewers have been backing him. These went from sort of 14s, 16s into vying for favoritism, which was Ryan's Rocket for Fergal Brown. Ran at Cheltenham this year over 2.5, just didn't think he got home. Ran really well up to a point, and then, as I said, he fell, I think it was on Boxing Day or the day after Boxing Day, when that really improving skeleton horse won over 2 miles.
Winner of
that was second to John Bunn, whose name has deserted me. Thistleask, yeah. So yeah, he went off 7-4 favourite in that race. I know Thistleask has improved loads, but I think the vibes were good that day. They were expecting a big run from him, obviously unseated early on. So yeah, Ryan's Rocket would be my main fancy, but I'd definitely be having a saver on Jazzy Matty. He broke my heart last year when I was on an unexpected party train for months in the lead up to the festival. So he owes me one this year. So I'll definitely not be letting him go unbacked.
Yeah, similar to me. I like Jazzy Matty as well. I think just the fact that they seem to be so happy to keep just the £7 increase he got from last year and just campaign him over hurdles is telling enough in itself. He has shown he can already book the trends. One I'm just wary of, though he disappointed at Cheltenham last year and he was all the hype then as well, is Be Aware for the Skeletons. He fits a lot of the trends. He's rated 148. He hasn't had 5 chase starts, but he's had 4, and he has got a chase win to his name as well. He just seems like a horse, a real strong traveller over the trip, and he could just kind of pick a few off and have one pop after the last. Now, he is very short. He's 8-1. He's been completely spotted in the market. But he's just one who's always threatened to land a big race, and I'll be one to keep. I'm definitely splitting stakes between him and Jazzy Matty anyway.
The one just when you were saying about the one it scares you a little bit, the one that scares me a little bit, and I wasn't sure if the plan was to go, but I think from hearing from Ben Pauling the other night, it is to go, as Vanderpool. I was really impressed with him at Sandown, but I think there was initially chat that he might want to go left-handed, and Pauling was thinking about missing Cheltenham, but it sounds like now that the plan is to go here. So he was one I was on, and I drifted off a little bit when I heard that, but if he ran, I'll probably not back him now because I've got the other 2 on side, but he'd be the one that would scare me. I thought he won, or looked like he won with plenty in the hand last time at Sandown.
Yeah, there's one race I won't be splitting stakes in. I'll be very hesitant to even have a stake in it. Is the race I don't think I've ever won, the Pertemps. 7 of the last 10 winners of Pertemps were Irish, which again, we're the best at cheating and getting horses into handicaps, especially ones you need to qualify for. It was actually interesting. Patrick Mullins was on with Paddy Power Racing saying they really wanted Chart Topper to be their Pertemps horse, but he fell at the second last time at Haydock, so he didn't qualify. That's obviously the risk you take when you have to come top 4 in these contests. I just thought that was interesting. He said he's going to go elsewhere at Cheltenham. I just can't remember which race. But yeah, 7 of the last 10 were Irish. 6 of the last 10 winners had run in the Pertemps qualifier at Leopardstown over Christmas on the 28th, which is interesting. It was won by JP Horse. Only 2 of them are entered in the Pertemps that were in the top 4 and qualified for it. We'll touch on them later. 10 of the last 12 were aged 6, 7 or 8, and the last 12 winners had at least 6 hurdle starts. So You want an Irish horse that's experienced, has had plenty of starts over hurdles, but maybe hasn't shown their full hand. Stepping up in trip. I always find the Pertemps so hard because you don't know how seriously to take the bare results. That's what I always find the hardest about it. Like, should you back the winner of the Pertemps qualifiers? Probably not. Or should you back the fourth place because they were running to get fourth, or were you just not good enough to get top three? It's always a hard race. I know you fancy one in this, Ryan, anyway.
Yeah, I'm very keen on Manello Emperor. I'll just quickly mention back on Jazzy Matty. He's actually somehow been given an extra £1 by the English handicapper, despite originally being giving 7 for winning the race, but he's decided to give him an extra £1. And talking about extra £1, obviously Manello Emperor has only been given an extra £1 as well. So for his run at Haydock, I think that's a very good mark. I was hoping he'd get sort of 3 or 4, so to only get 1 was nice to see. I think it was just his handicap debut. He's come second in a qualifier. It looked a bit awkward. Just needed the experience. And now I think that will stand him in good stead going into the Cheltenham Festival, where it's clearly the target. And I think he's got an excellent chance. His form earlier in the season, with horses up there in the Albert Bartlett market, what's the horse you fancy in the Albert Bartlett?
Espresso Milan.
Yeah. Came 4 lengths behind him earlier in the season. I just think he's got good form. He's completely unexposed, and he's 12-1. And they've clearly been targeting this race.
I like it. As mentioned earlier, the handicap, the Pertemps qualifier that was ran at Leopardstown this season, Duke Silver was the horse for Joseph that won it. Yeah, man. For Gavin Cromwell was an interesting second of a much reduced hurdles mark. However, he's a 9-year-old, so he doesn't fit the 6, 7, 8-year-old trend. So I'm just going to blindly back Small Town Hero for Ian Donoghue and the winner Duke Silver. 33-1 Duke Silver, 40-1 Small Town Hero. Just a small stakes on both of them, and hope that they uphold the trends, I suppose. I don't really have a strong opinion on the race. GMAT, have you got anything strong?
Sorry, quickly. I think Yeah Man was also given £10.
Yeah,
by the English handicapper. So,
9 or 10, yeah, you got absolutely shafted, which is fair in retrospect to his chase mark, which is about £20 higher, if not more. But yeah, GMAT, you fancy one of this?
Yeah, I have 2. Ryan sort of talked me into Manello Emperor last time, so I think Ryan's made a good case for him already. The other one that I like in this is Electric Mason. Ran well at Cheltenham in the October meeting. I backed him at this 14-1. I thought to myself, brilliant, he's got a hack up here, and he was pipped by 2.5 lengths, which now looks like great form by Mashantu, who is obviously near the top of the betting in the stairs. Don't necessarily fancy him, but the form has still been boosted since. He then went and did what you don't want him to do, which is win at Haydock in a full close race. Front 2 pulled a few lengths clear. The Gordon combination, Freddie and Chris, he's been...
We've lost Gareth. We've lost them. We tried to make a strong case for the Pertemps, and they've removed him from the server. Here he comes.
Oh, was I going there?
Yeah, you're going. Go again.
What is up with his internet, man?
We got as far as he won. He won in the photo finish in Haydock.
Okay. Yeah, he won the photo finish at Haydock. Front 2 pulled a good bit clear from the rest. He's a similar sort of price to Manello Emperor, around 10-12-1. So that'd be my 2. I'd probably be going in the battle with. He's been kept freshless, hasn't ran since November. So it appears this is the target. So yeah, Electric Mason and Manello Emperor would be my 2.
Very nice, very nice. There's a red hot favourite. The next race we're going to discuss, the Kim Muir. Jericho de Repine obviously chose not to go to the Ultima and decided to come here when the handicapper gave him £3 off from 148 to 145. The stark difference between how the Irish and the English are treated. They're really cracking down on our blatant cheating. But 2 of the last 23 Kim Muir winners had won last time out. So he fits that trend, because if anyone watched any of his runs this season, there was no way that horse was ever getting close to winning a race this season. 17 of the last 19 winners were 16-1 or less. So again, you're looking at the top of the market. 10 of the last 12 carried 11 stone or more. So you're looking for upper end of the rating and of the market. 7 of the last 10 were Irish trained. Again, it's not a solid trend. You can obviously get one that pops up from the English. Again, Jericho very sure 4-1 fits the trends, but 4-1, and you're getting piled in a 4-1.
It's a strange one because I could see him going off 5-2 like I know the way you're thinking did, but I could also see him going off double the price. It's a weird one. I did fancy You Have Me in Stitches for this race, but she's shortened in the market and also been backed with a £6 rise, which I think is quite hard to justify. But there you go. So I was having a look a bit further down the market, and I've come down on Il Ridotto for this race. He's 33-1, so that's the starting point. He won the Paddy Power off of 141 last season. He runs off 138 here. I think 33-1 is a bit of an insult. He's got a lot of course form. Yeah, that's the basis of it. Really, a lot of course form. He won the Paddy Power for a higher mark. He has tried 3 miles once and it didn't work out for him. But Paul Nicholls did say that it was just him being too keen that day, and it was a while ago. And he hopes that he'll settle better this time, and this is the right race for him this time round.
He's just so ungenuine though, isn't he? He just if you see him coming to the last and there's any horse in and around him, he's not the one you want to be on. Is Waterford Whispers gonna run here? I'm not sure. That horse has been kind of hinting at winning a big handicap for a while. I'm not sure. I think it's triple entered in some of the handicaps for the Bromhead, rated 1-3-4. Not yet won over fences, but not really ran over this far, really ever. So it is a big step up in trip. Again, let me just check the entries. Entries in the Jack Richards and the Plate. He is shortest for this one. Again, 8-1 shortest price for this one, maybe to be. It all depends on the JP jockey bookings, doesn't it? Really, whoever gets Derek, just lump on it. Gareth, strong fancy?
No, Jack, I don't really have a strong fancy in this, and I'm not going to put one up just for the sake of putting it up. If Jacko Durabine happened to drift to 6 or 7s in the day, I'd probably side with him. But yeah, not one I've honestly spent a lot of time looking on, or there's nothing really jumps out to me in this one, I'm afraid.
But the whole point of this show is to put up horses just for the sake of putting them up. I mean, Ryan just put up Il Ridotto. If that's not a selection, just to put up a selection, that's what it is. So we'll just
responsibly, Jack. It's an important message.
We'll go swiftly on to the County Hurdle, which is one of the most interesting trends. I didn't think it was this bad. 10 of the last 11 winners were trained by either Willie Mullins or Dan Skelton. That's crazy. Just pick whatever one you fancy out of that camp, pick that. 15 of the last 20 winners were rated in the 130s. 14 of the last 23 had previously run on the flat, and 12 of the last 12 winners had previously won a race. So, some vague stats there, some not so vague stats. I obviously like Rockdino for this race if he goes. Patrick Mullins left the door firmly open on boat routes on the Paddy Power Racing Show when discussing Rockdino. He said he's just in the mould of that. Basically, he's in the mould of that horse that's going to improve £10 for going to Cheltenham and being entered in the handicap. He was slapped with a £7 rise for 124 up to 131, which is relatively harsh, depending on what race you want to take him from. But he just gives me the impression of a horse that's been aimed at a handicap. Again, I don't know if he's going to go here or the Martin Pipe. He will fit the mid-130s rated, the Mullins horse. He had run on the flat, so yeah, interesting, but not a guaranteed runner. Ryan?
Yeah, as you said, it's either Skelton or Willie are generally winning this race. I'll just be waiting for whatever pulls on and hoping to get on it quickly when the declarations and jockey bookings come out, which I assume is going to be Mercia. I mean, she's already 6-1, which is pretty awful.
For a horse that got beaten in the Boodles off £7 lower.
Yeah, but if he bothers to ride her, then I think that's confidence enough, to be honest. He doesn't ride in pretty much any of the handicaps except for this one every year, and he's always on the right one. So I'll stick with that.
Yeah, was given £3, which could be seen as light, but also could seen as harsh. Puts her outside the trends mark of the 130s. But yeah, trends are there to be booked. G-Matt, do you echo Ryan's thoughts, or do you have your own?
Yeah, I wouldn't be as dismissive of Mercia as you, Jack. I think she has a chance. Thought the run at Leopardstown was eye catching. Looking at the trends, the one I came down on, although two things. A, I'm not sure if it's going to run, and I actually wasn't aware that it was trained by Skelton, but I can see it's actually had another trainer change from John Joe O'Neill to Dan Skelton was tell her the name. She was close up third last time out. I'm just actually reading here in the notes of the horse Blade when she went off favourite at Carlisle in October. Has since just changed the Skeltons there in February of this year. Wouldn't be unlike Dan to pull something like this out of his hat of a new horse new to the yard and all of a sudden it improves 7 stone. But yeah, it's one that just caught my eye when I saw that notification, and I can see here, don't know how accurate these markets are, but it looks like there has been some money for the horse over the last few weeks. It looks like at one stage there it was 40s, and now it seems to be 20s or 22s best price. So yeah, it's one I'll keep an eye on. If the money came for it on the day, it's probably one I get involved in. But yeah, I thought the Mercia ride was eye catching last time. Not the ride.
It tends
not the
to
ride,
be a race
that
there's a huge market mover in every year. It's just, and it might be as simple as just like Ryan says, whichever one town ends on or whichever one the money comes from, you're better off joining in late on a money gamble on a winner than trying to pick one earlier that loses. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the money really came in Cargeese last year, didn't it?
Yeah, went off short.
Over the 2 days leading up, it just seemed to. Every time I looked, she was getting shorter and shorter, and obviously
she went off
State
5
Man.
to 2-ish, did she, or even shorter?
Yeah, and then didn't the Skeltons have one that was punted off the boards the year before and came second? Would that be aware? No.
It might have been, yeah.
And the county it was punted off the boards. I remember
3
being
to
on
1, 3 to 1. Cargeese went off last year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Be Aware. Was really heavily punted and looked the winner the whole way up the home straight, and then it got beat by Absurd, maybe.
Be Aware was in the Coral Cup last year.
The year before.
Didn't run the year before.
No, who was that horse? That's gonna really annoy me. Hold on till I find out who that was.
We'll move on. Did we get your pick this round?
Yeah. I just said, yeah.
Or nearest Mercia.
Yeah, Mercia probably.
I did mention Rockdino might go to this race. He doesn't fit as many trends for the Martin Pipe, though, which is what we're going to talk about now. 12 the last 12. So 12 in a row is a good trend to follow. I've been rated between 135 and 145, so he'd be £4 below that. No winner has carried less than 11 stones, so he'll be below that again. 9 of the last 12 had won that season. He hasn't won, so he doesn't fit those 3 twins. Doesn't fit those 3 twins. And then 10 of the last 12 were 5 or 6 years old. He does fit that one. So that's the case. Send him to the county. He fits the trends. The one I do like that does fit all these trends is the Passing Wife. I know we touched on it. We don't know if it's going to go here or going to be supplemented for the Albert Bartlett, but it's rate 143. 6-year-old, won't be carrying less than 11 stone, had won this season impressively as well. So that slots quite in that window. It's 12 to 1 at the moment, perhaps shorter, but that's one that's very interesting. You don't really know how good it is at the moment because he's been winning his races. So there is the back form with the devil, you know. I know, Ryan, you think he's going to get supplemented for the Bartlett. What do you fancy in the Martin Pipe?
Yeah, I believe he is going to go for the Bartlett. I think you showed me earlier, didn't they? They've even said that they think he'll lack the class off top weight or near enough top weight. Yeah, I like Rockdino if he shows up. I don't like the fact that he got £7 from the English handicapper. That seems a lot. My selection in the race now would be He Can't Dance. I think Gordon Elliott has a really good record in the race. He always targets this race. He's got two potentially in the kind of sub 20 to 1. He's got Wendrock and He Can't Dance, who are both 16 to 1. I just don't like the preparation for Wendrock. He pulled up in his last race. I think He Can't Dance has got the 5th run in, and there's been a fair few Gordon Elliott and Gigginstown horses down the years that have run very well in this race. Over the years, I mean, Column of Fire would have won it a couple of years ago if he didn't fall. Obviously, Wood, who won it for Gordon last year, and then Gigginstown have had Don Poley over the years, so they both like to target the last race. And I just think at 16 to 1, I think he'll end up single figures, just based on trainer and owners. So yeah, I'll stick with him.
G-Bat, did you find the name of that Cheltenham horse for us?
It was Lotus Sud.
Oh, Lotus Sud.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And have you got the winner of the Mountain Pipers?
Ryan's obviously stole my homework. But the one I actually fancied was He Can't Dance. And I thought to myself, oh, Jack will fall this off. But yeah, he made a pretty good case. The other one that I thought, in terms of trends and stuff, although she ran an absolute stinker at the weekend there, was Nurse Susan. Again, I wasn't sure what the plan was, but 9-year-old probably getting on a little bit, but she ran a shocker there at the weekend at Fontwell. And I think even for the Skeltons, I know she runs in the similar colours to Langerdan, or maybe the Langerdan colours, but even for the Skeltons, that run I think was a bit too bad to be true, just a couple of weeks away from the festival. So that definitely tempered my enthusiasm a little bit for that. But yeah, I'd probably be the two that would take my eye most would be the two that you've both mentioned there. He Can't Dance and also The Passing Wife. But again, remains to be seen where The Passing Wife is going to turn up here. The one I can't really warm to is the one you're really keen on, Jack. I'm just not sure about this Rock Dino. I think it's just the talking horse this year that everybody seems to be saying, oh, I'm not sure where he's going to go, but wherever he's going to go, he's going to win. But he'd be one that wouldn't interest me at all.
He's I don't know. Do you not just get the impression from watching him that he's not even trying to get anywhere? Like the race behind Mighty Park, fair enough, you can say Mullins's weren't running great. It was his first time out. It was just looked after. But even when Kairos went past him, I hit the last. It's almost like Dana went, oh shit, I might as well not drive him out here just in case he goes and wins. And he ran on a bit that day. He's just so unexposed. You don't really know what you're gonna get. Like even in France, he didn't.
It's very, very rare for Willie Mullins to run one back 2 weeks after its first run.
Yeah.
So it was obviously the plan, but I don't think the plan was to get a £7.
No, but like he hasn't won a race. Like he is completely taken on historical evidence of these typical French types that come over from Willie Mullins. And like Ryan said, you wouldn't see Mullins scrambling often to get a second run into them to qualify them to then freshen them up. He just could pop up off 131, come there swinging, and you're going, why did I take him on? He just was not just screaming at you. Do you know what I mean? It's equally. There's been plenty of the horses that have come over and have looked like this is a typical Mullins one who's gonna pop up and run absolutely terrible, like Kopeck to me last year. But yeah, I just can't let him go, to be honest. Just the way his profile just grabs me, you know. I suppose I'm gonna land you both in it and ask for a handicap nap for the week. Who will I start with first? I'll start with me. Give you guys a chance to think of your naps for the week for the handicaps. I'm going to go with Kopeck the Me in the Coral Cup. I think he fits the trends lovely. I think he's been absolutely mapped out for this. Mullins has won the Coral Cup plenty of times with fresh horses with similar profiles. So I'm going to go Kopeck the Me 18 to 1, my handicap nap for the week. Ryan, give me your nap.
It'd still be Manila Emperor in the Pertemps. I think he's got a great chance, and I'd double him with a Rocco in the Ultima.
Yes, we didn't just get a single, we got a nap double for the festival handicaps 12 days out. I love it. G-Man?
Yeah, I'm going to take Ryan on in the Ultima. Not because it's my most bullish selection, it seems to be the handicap I have the most success in. And I'll go for Quebecois. the one thing I must say, I know this is a completely different tangent I'm going off on here, so I apologize to listeners. But just looking through this, like this so badly needs to go to 3 days and 8 races and get rid of these handicaps, because like so many horses can go for 2 races, so many over similar trips. Like just they need a radical overhaul of this, back to 3 days, 8 races a day, and get rid of 4 of these handicaps. Sorry,
What do
not
you?
over.
There is plenty of horses that are double entered in even a lot of the graded races. Is there a case to be made for like a 10 5-day confirmation stage where you obviously the arguments made then, well, it wasn't showing enough at home, so we're going to go for the handicap, or wasn't well in herself for Lozzie Mount, so we think the Mayor's Hurdle is an easier race, and we can only make that decision 2 days in advance. But should there be a 5-day confirmation stage at least to give people a bit more chance to research the handicaps and the graded action?
I personally think there should be some sort of first preference system. Maybe 2 weeks out, you've got to say we're very much likely to run here, unless for whatever reason maybe the ground goes heavy and you switch to the Ryanair from the Gold Cup. Fine, but I think you should be giving a first preference sort of a couple of weeks out, in my opinion.
I could just see the Dan Skelton. Yes, our first preference is for the county hurdle. And then drifts out to 16s for the Martin Piper for the Coral and sticks it in that instead. There's always going to be ways to game a system, to be honest. So
yeah,
it's a tough.
Yeah, I think there's something they could do, or also. I know the Mayor's races have thrown up some good races, but obviously they do take away from some of the big races too. Don't know if there's maybe something they can look at, maybe some sort of penalty system if you're winning the Grade 1 there. You know, when you step back in the Mayor's company to try and get the good mares to go for the Champion Hurdle, because let's be honest, if those mares this year decided they all wanted to run the Mayor's Hurdle, it's a better race than the Champion. And you know, if you look at the top of the market there, you know, Lozzie Mouth, Better Days Ahead, Golden Ace, like if they all decided now we're not going to run, the Champion Hurdle all of a sudden looks terrible. So I think they need to do something between the handicaps and maybe between the qualification or the rules around some races, just to shake it up a little bit. Yeah. But like the one thing as well, sorry to rant here, I saw a blogger tweeting last night about the 4 handicaps on the Tuesday. You know, that's meant to be Champions Day. It doesn't really feel like Champions Day anymore. You know, it used to be I went Tuesday every year because Tuesday was the best day's racing every single year. Not really sure it feels like that anymore, which maybe means, I don't know, they've maybe spread their days out and made them a bit more equal. But I also thought it was nice to start on the Tuesday with, you know, the Champion Hurdle, the Arkle, the Supreme, and the Mares. You'd 4 Grade 1s there. Yeah. Just feels a little bit more trappy now.
Yeah, you got what, four novice races on the Tuesday. Four handicaps, 4 novice races. It's not great.
We'll leave the clarifications and the systems to people much smarter than us. So we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Staying On Racing fans, for watching. Don't forget to comment. First person to comment a bet, I'm going to place that bet. It's going to go into our Accumulating Cheltenham giveaway to be given away to 1 subscriber on the Monday before Cheltenham. Let us know your handicap fancies down below. Let us know which handicap horses we put up that you're completely against. And we'll see you next week for the full Cheltenham Festival preview. Till then, thanks for watching. See ya.